Jai Baba everyone. We are going back to the year 1925 when Baba declared about his silence. And in my present video, I am going to narrate the incidences which took place in the last few days before Baba started his silence. During June 1925, Baba intimated to both the men and women Mandali that from 15th June he would keep silence and communicate with them only by written notes and through gestures. On 4th June 1925, he declared, I will observe silence for 1 year. I will not speak to anyone, but all should hold fast to my feet. Those who stick with me until the end will greatly benefited and highly rewarded. On 13th June, an event took place at Mehrabad, which caused Baba to postpone his silence. Many birds had built their nests in the post office building, and there were also termites on the roof. Gulmai was standing on a table cleaning the ceiling with a broom, and while extending, she fell down and severely sprained her ankle. Baba himself applied compresses to her swollen leg and changed the bandage daily. Afterward, he declared that he was postponing his silence until Gulmai was well enough to walk. On Thursday, 18th June 1925, Baba again mentioned his upcoming silence. Within a few days, I will begin keeping silence. All of you remember to hold fast to me, no matter what. On Friday, 26th June 1925, Baba declared that he would observe silence from the 10th of July. A sign about his statement was painted and erected at the entrance of Mehrabad. Notices were printed and mailed announcing that Meher Baba would not speak with anyone for 1 year. It was also intimated through the notices that from the 1st of July, the master would not give darshan to any outsider for a few weeks. Baba wanted to have sufficient time to give final instructions to the men and women at Mehrabad about their stay and duties. During a discussion of the upcoming year of silence, one person expressed the concern that Baba, on becoming upset with any person, might let a few words slip from his mouth. It was even suggested that Baba tie a handkerchief around his mouth to prevent this. But Baba assured everyone present that once he started to keep silence, he would not lose control of his temper or utter a word thereafter. Although it had been announced by mail that no outsider should come to Mehrabad after 1st July, a group of Parsi politicians came to see Meher Baba on Thursday 2nd July. After discussing with them the political and spiritual situation of India, the master discoursed about the mind and body. This was to be his last recorded verbal discourse. On 8th July, Baba convened a meeting of the men and for an hour instructed each person about their duties during the coming year of silence. On 9th July, final discussions were made in all matters. Besides verbal directions, general instructions were written down and posted at the Hazrat Babajan school. Later in the afternoon, the master met with the parents of the children at Hazrat Babajan school and explained about his upcoming year of silence. Baba impressed upon them the spiritual significance of allowing their children to remain in the school during this period. They, in turn, promised not to remove their children from the school during the next year under any circumstances. Baba then gathered the men Mandali and spoke to them at length about the future. They listened attentively, since these would be his last utterances for 1 year. They knew that this would be the last opportunity to hear Master's voice again for a long time. Baba's last verbal discussion with his Mandali covered 3 topics. First, Baba's general advice to all was, you have to live for others and use your bodies for the benefit of others. Then he explained that one reason for him no longer speaking concerned Babajan. I must keep silence for some excessive spiritual work that will result when Babajan drops her body in the near future. Lastly, he explained that his self imposed silence also related to the future of the world. There will be religious, communal hostilities, riots, worldwide wars, and natural disasters. These events will cause the shedding of blood of millions of people throughout the world in general and throughout India in particular. But thereafter, peace and brotherhood will come back into the world. Baba turned to Gulmai, one of the few women present, and added, "There will be another world war. It will be much more destructive and extensive than the one before. Rivers of blood will flow. I will dip my kerchief in that river of blood and tie it around my head. Not until the world cries out for God will I give up my silence." The teacher, Pandoba, then pleaded with Baba that if he becomes silent, people would no longer have the opportunity to hear what he had to declare, and the world will be deprived of his teachings. Baba replied, "I have come not to teach, but to awaken." These were to be his last words to anyone outside of his circle, and they contained the essence of Meher Baba's divine mission in the world. During the evening of 9th July, Baba walked to the women's quarter at the post office building to convey his final instructions to them. "Now, listen to my last words, because from tomorrow I will keep silence for 1 year. Attend to your duties with love and fulfill them with all your heart. Cook for the children of the school as if they were your own. I have much work to do for the world. When my work is done, I shall speak." Baba left them at 8 o'clock in the evening and, accompanied by Masaji, went to visit the Mantlis' quarter. He told them, "I am going to be silent from tomorrow for 1 year. All of you take care of everything at Meherabad as usual and take care of your health. Whenever you go out during the night, always carry a lantern with you. Always beware of snakes. I will save you from every calamity under the sun, but I won't help you if you are bitten by a snake. So be careful. Keep on doing your work. I have given you all of your duties. Continue doing them, every one of you. There will be no hitch in the work. Although I will be silent, everything at Meherabad will run smoothly. You don't have to worry. I have my own reasons for keeping silence. I must do it. Stick to your jobs and do as I instruct you. Don't deviate from the work and don't worry about it. If you obey me, nothing will be difficult." It was 8:30 when he concluded. "I am going to the Jhopri now. All of you go to bed." There were about 20 men around him. A few men made some comments, and within a few minutes the group dispersed. The men began unrolling their bedding, and Padri went to urinate. He had only gone a few steps when he spotted a 3-foot-long cobra. Lifting his lantern, he shouted, "Snake, snake!" The other man came running with the bamboo staff which was kept for such incidents. There was shouting and the whacking of staffs as the snake was being killed. Baba heard the commotion and came out of his room. "What is all the noise about?" he asked. "Baba, we have killed a snake." "Who saw it?" "I did," Padri reported. "Were you carrying a lantern?" Padri nodded yes, and Baba was pleased that he had done so. Padri then handed him a staff and Baba crushed the head of the cobra. He ordered Padri to wash his hands several times after burying the snake. Then he repeated, "I am warning you all again. Be careful of snakes. Always carry a lantern and take care. Now I want everyone to go to sleep." Meher Baba then walked over to the women's quarters and spoke with them briefly. "How fortunate you are that you have heard my voice so many times today. This incident with the snake took place to allow you to hear me speak for the final time." He then departed and retired for the night as Masaji kept watch. Meher Baba came out of his jhopri as usual at 5 o'clock on the morning of Friday, 10th July 1925. After a bath, he went to the Mandli quarters. Everyone thought that Baba would not make his usual inquiries, but to their surprise, the master questioned the Mandli, the teachers and children about their health, sleep, and the food for the day, all in writing. Thus, from that day onwards, in spite of his silence, Meher Baba was found to be quite alert to and mindful of all matters, especially regarding the duties of the two superintendents of the property, Behramji and Rustam. From that day on, for several months, Baba had a new companion. Constantly with him was a young boy named Bal, to whom he had taken a liking. Bal, an Arangaon village boy who accompanied the master around Meherabad with a pencil and paper or chalk and slate, so that Baba could convey whatever he wished. Baba's nature was so outgoing and voluble that he often spontaneously broke out into song or poetry. Hence, many of the Mandli doubted he would be able to keep silence for a full year. But as the days passed, they were greatly impressed to observe that the master never once spoke and remained silent in all circumstances, showing that he was in perfect control of himself. Although he would still participate in the bhajan programs, Baba's beautiful voice no longer was heard, yet his hands would play a drum or finger cymbals as accompanied to the singers. Meher Baba had observed silence 4 times before, but the silence of 10th July 1925 was to last until the end. He never uttered another word for the rest of his life. Although Baba was observing silence, it did not seem to those around him that he was silent at all, nor did it interfere with his work. On the contrary, there was an increased intensity of Baba's daily activities at Meherabad. To conclude, let's recall all these incidents briefly. On 10th July 1925, Meher Baba began his silence that lasted for 44 years until he dropped his body on January 31st, 1969. After Meher Baba started his silence, he communicated by writing on a slate board. After that, he pointed to letters on an alphabet board and spelled out words. Later, he used a series of hand gestures that were interpreted by his close disciples. Meher Baba said that his silence was not undertaken as a spiritual exercise, but solely in connection with his universal work. About his silence, Meher Baba said, "Men's inability to live God's words make the Avatar's teaching a mockery. Instead of practicing the compassion he taught, man has waged wars in his name. Instead of living the humility, purity, and truth of his words, man has given way to hatred, greed, and violence. Because man has been deaf to the principles and precepts laid down by God in the past, in this present avataric form, I observe silence. You have asked for and been given enough words. It's now time to live them." In 1937, Meher Baba said of his silence, "Yet I am never silent, I speak eternally. The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice, the voice of inspiration, of intuition, of guidance." Avatar Meher Baba asked his followers to keep silence from midnight July 9th to midnight July 10th. Erit Jaisawala, one of Meher Baba's close Mandli, stated the following about Silence Day. It was Baba's order for all his lovers and applies even to this today. One can say it was one of his few orders for posterity. In fact, there are very few orders he has left for his lovers in the world. If someone accidentally speaks up, it's okay. But on realizing his mistake, he should keep silence again and be more alert. Use gestures or write on a notepad. All those who consider themselves Baba lovers are expected to do this. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.